Hey there, world. Welcome to yet another episode of Fractal Radio. Currently, I am sitting Indian style, or however you're supposed to say it in the present politically correct climate. But it's part of something I call American Zen. I was just listening to my hippity-dippity healing frequencies for the chakras because it's kind of relaxing. And I call this American Zen because I came across the notion in a book on Buddhism, kind of Eastern asceticism, way back when I went through that phase in my teenage years, where they described the circumspection that certain people in those cultures would take in terms of how they tie up their kimonos or do whatever it is that they do, sweep the floors. You can apply that to the West. Hence why I favor ties, despite them largely having fallen out of favor among a lot of people. I prefer the mountain man look nowadays. Anyhow, just a wee bit of a ramble in the beginning. I am quite excited because I have just received some little fears all the way over from England. Check out that postage. It's a queen or some such thing. And frankly, I'm a bit reluctant to open it because I don't have a way to hang it. But let's get right to it, shall we? This is America, by the way. We don't have any fancy pants letter openers like them European fellas. We just got our good old book knives. Yep. All right. Let's get some ASMR going right here. If you like the tapping. I want to be real careful. Perhaps letter openers are a good idea. Ooh, I don't like mess. I'm not a very messy person. Boo doo 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 doo. Oh yeah. It's in there. It's so in there. So what I'm going to talk after I get this open about, besides the actual artwork, is gut bacteria. All over the place. But that's the Fractal Journal for you. Lovely. Look at this. Ooh, and I like how it's sealed up in this little protective sleeve. Look at that. That's great. I'm going to need to get some kind of thing that'll allow me to hang it up without it getting sticky or being punctured. But yes, these are the little fears. And the little fears are made by an independent artist in England. I believe his name is Peter Edwards? Somebody Edwards. Apologies if you end up watching this video, sir. But yeah, very stylistic, quirky little cartoons with a lot of puns. I dig it. I just like also how you can order things and within a couple of weeks they come in the mail all the way from across the friggin' ocean. I think that's pretty neat, and it's a totally new dynamic that people don't have to have brick and mortar shops. And people have talked about this because, Amazon's been a thing for a while now. But first of all, I don't like the big conglomerates like Amazon. But it's still damned exciting, and I think more people should realize the potential as creators that this holds. You no longer need physical space, as it were. So, why was I going to talk about gut microbiomes and things? Well, because recently I was ill, and I was prescribed a course of amoxicillin. And as somebody who's hippity-dippity and very health conscious, I was like, oof, all right. But fortunately, amoxicillin is one of the strains that doesn't have a terribly large effect on gut and oral bacteria. And I think due to the fact that I pretty regularly take probiotics and eat stuff like yogurt and sauerkraut, etc., I'm pretty good in that department. However, this entire week, it might have just been post-illness or the fact that my sort of physically demanding job is wearing on me. I've just felt sort of terrible, and I haven't been able to really go to the gym. Well, I've been able to, but I've been avoiding it because I think that overdoing physically strenuous things is what caused me to get sick in the first place. But I've just felt a bit more fatigued, and I'm wondering what has something to do with the amoxicillin having an effect or not. But anyway, my babbling aside, let's get to some actual articles here. So, antibiotics can change the gut microbiome for up to a year. That's from The Atlantic, that headline. And here is PubMed.gov. Antibiotics in the human gut microbiome. Dysbioses and accumulation of resistances. And I'm going to read the abstract here. The human microbiome is overly exposed to antibiotics, due not only to their medical use, but also to their utilization in farm animals and crops. So, yeah, antibiotics are everywhere. That's one of the things that fascinated me when I was studying water and how things percolate throughout the water cycle. Things like antibiotics, which affect gut health, and your gut has been recently implicated as having a lot to do with your mood and your cognitive function. It's been called a second brain. So that is a tad alarming, I would say. Microbiome composition can be rapidly altered by exposure to antibiotics with potential immediate effects on health. For instance, through the selection of resistant opportunistic pathogens that can cause acute disease. Microbiome alterations induced by antibiotics can also indirectly affect health in the long term. The mutualistic microbes in the human body interact with many physiological processes and participate in the regulation of immune and metabolic homeostasis. Therefore, antibiotic exposure can alter many basic physiological equilibria, promoting long-term disease. Oh, good. In addition, excessive antibiotic use fosters bacterial resistance, and overly exposed human microbiome has become a significant reservoir of resistance genes, contributing to the increasing difficulty in controlling bacterial infections. Here, the complex relationships between antibiotics and the human microbiome are reviewed, with focus on the intestinal microbiota, addressing the effects of antibiotic use on the composition and function of the gut microbiome, the impact of antibiotic-induced microbiota alterations on immunity, metabolism, and health, and the role of the gut microbiota as a reservoir of antibiotic resistances. So, you don't need to read those last two sentences, but I was going to finish. Well, yeah, so your gut bacteria is adversely affected by antibiotics because antibiotics don't discriminate, and they happen to be everywhere. So all those hippies that have been freaking out about all the toxins might have had a bit of a point. Unfortunately for those of you who like to mock us. Okay. Let's return to The Scientist. Exploring life, inspiring innovation. Antibiotics and the gut microbiome. So this looked at a study with mice, and antibiotics given to infant mice may have long-term effects on animals' metabolism and gut microbiota. So it promotes bone growth in the mice, certain strains of antibiotics, as well as obesity later in life. This is stuff given to infant mice. As Blazer's group anticipated, the antibiotic treatments resulted in notable changes to the gut microbiota of the mice. Although the two antibiotics resulted in different patterns, tylosin treatment resulted in changes to gut microbiomes that lasted for several months. For example, while amoxicillin treatment led to a shorter-term change that only lasted a week. So hey, it did lead to a change. Maybe why I was feeling bad this week. Tylosin and the combined antibiotic treatment also seem to have a greater impact on Bacteroidetes species than amoxicillin treatment alone. Yep, there it is. The antibiotic treatments also affected the animal's fat and bone density levels. Amoxicillin treatment resulted in increases in lean mass and significantly larger bones and higher bone mineral content, while tylosin increased lean and total body mass compared to no antibiotic control animals. This means that the antibiotics are affecting early life development, said Blazer. Pulse antibiotic treatment also resulted in gene expression changes in the liver as many as 120 days after completion of the treatment. So I don't know. Strong bones sound like a good thing, but a messed up gut in terms of the way it metabolizes doesn't. Obesity doesn't. And those are both effects of some of these antibiotics, it would seem. Yeah, especially insulin resistance. So these are important observations that need to be replicated in human studies. William de Vos, a microbiologist at Wageningen University in the Netherlands, told the scientist in an email, while previous work has shown that microbial communities influence obesity and insulin resistance, this study supports the idea that antibiotics affect the gut microbiome and that the disturbed gut microbiota may contribute to metabolic signaling. This study underscores the complexity of systems and the need to continue to drill more deeply, blah, blah. So, another thing that I had read, because I read 3 different articles, I'm not going to try to find it, although I probably should have taken bullet point notes, but I'm pressed for time. I'm going to do this sketch of Sam Monroe. But it said that the genes that express resistance, bacterial resistance to antibiotic treatment, increase after antibiotic doses, which everybody knows that antibiotics lose effectiveness and cause all kinds of funky mutations that make it harder and harder to treat bacterial infections. And this is kind of a catch-22, a classic one where it's like, well, when I was sick, I wanted to not be sick. It was a terrible, terrible sore throat, and I need to go to work, etc. So I was like, okay, the doctor says you got pharyngitis, here's amoxicillin. I'm like, okay, I do the amoxicillin. But this is why you should really take care of your health and get adequate rest, because I really think that this all has to do the fact that I got sick, since I'm generally healthy, fatigue brought on by trying to accomplish too damn much, too damn quickly. Need to chill out a bit. Yeah, but this is hopefully some food for thought, and again, something I'm going to use to comment on the fact that even though I'm a layman, I can make observations about science. Science is not a monolith. It changes. That's the inherent power of science, and a lot of medical ideas are undergoing shifts and things in terms of like whether cholesterol is bad or it's sugar that's bad, etc. These things are difficult to ascertain, especially since individual body chemistry it varies. So you've got to be on the lookout, and constantly got to be updating information. And in terms of like when people prescribe stuff for depression, I'm not trying to give medical advice or whatever, but what I'm saying is there's a whole host of things going on in your body, and figure out if it's something wrong with your gut or with the amount of sleep you're getting before you mess with the neurotransmitters in your head. I think that only makes sense. Again, this is not medical advice, but just there's these ideas about these kind of like standard practices of if you have symptoms, like almost like you're a friggin' really simple cog and gear machine that you can sell pills and things to, and it just doesn't work that way. And when I say holistic, it does sound hippie-ish, and in some instances it is, but a holistic approach just means taking in the whole. A diagnostician is very good at sewing up a leg or treating you with antibiotics, which are necessary things, but on a personal level, you need to educate yourself and read things that are often written by doctors, and with studies like these about how your gut is affected. Keep up to date with that, and don't oversimplify yourself, because when you do that, you limit the range of options that you have for troubleshooting a problem, and you put yourself at the mercy of people who are pressed for time. Doctors are incredibly pressed for time. So I'm not saying don't trust your doctor. I'm saying understand that your doctor is human and that you need to take charge of your own damn health and your own insights into how the world functions. That's my little preachy thing that you probably already knew and understood, but I feel like certain things are worth repeating. So, I feel that so far, I've done a pretty darn good little 15-minute video, and it's my goal to be making these every day. so I get better at them, and to bring you information that becomes more organized and idea rich and coherent, and kind of has a central message throughout, as per, well, the intended mission statement of the Fractal Journal. Thanks so much for listening. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, greatly helps the channel, and feel free to comment whether you agree with what I said, disagree with what I said, find me stupid, ugly, whatever. It's all good. So, cheers.